que tu utilises avec ça? Point d'accès mobile.
Je suis live. Ça marche, ça marche, ça marche.
Oui, ça marche,
Oui.
mais si jamais moi je tire dessus, ça va te faire des boum.
Ouais, ça marchait la dernière fois, mais je suis live maintenant alors. Voilà. On essaye pour la prochaine fois, semaine prochaine. Merci. Hi guys, we had a couple of technical difficulties at the beginning because I'm using my laptop today and that's the first time. Normally I use my mobile phone. So hello. First I want to advertise something that I've been thinking about this week and I'm getting very excited about. I'm going to do a test Zoom yoga class on Tuesday with my friends and family, just to make sure that I know how it all works, the sound quality. Just want to see if I can see your, can one of you guys make a little comment so that I can see if it pops up or not? I'll write something first, see if you can write something in response. Chat en direct, it's all in French. Okay, well, I will hopefully see it as for my Zoom classes, which will be coming up soon. I have decided, obviously, for you guys to be able to connect with my Zoom classes, we need to communicate via email, and YouTube doesn't have that possibility. So I've just created a new email and I'm going to advertise it to you now so that you know what it is. And if you're interested in joining me on, oh, hello, yes, it works. Fantastic. Hello, Chase. Then, yeah, I can give you all via email. So here we go. You can pause this at a later date if you do. So it's yoga.health4you@gmail.com. And then the next thing I want to advertise, Chase, can you just tell me, was that image the right way around? The next thing I want to advertise is tonight, straight after this, I'm doing another live. Well, actually, it's not me personally, it's my friend Xavier Samsung. And so here is the other information and details about that. Can you see it? So it's the second half. It's a sound bath with gongs, Tibetan singing bowls, etc. So today's the new moon. So it's the 23rd of April today. It's CET, Central European Time, French summertime at 8:30 in the evening. And you'd have to go on to Samsung Xavier's Facebook live account, Koream, and that's how you spell it down there. And then you'll be able to find his live sound bath, which I'll hopefully be doing some drumming too, so you can see me doing that if you wish. And then that was me on Facebook Messenger at the top, Joanna Nahum, Nahum, and that was another way of getting hold of me if you wanted to. But now that we have my new Gmail email account, then that might be a better way of doing it. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about self-care, which is a very broad, interesting subject, which encompasses lots of different things. And then later on, I want to talk about, oh, it was blurry, sorry about that. Later on, I want to talk about a period of crisis, when you're in crisis, and medication for the long term, because, yeah, it's something I've thought about a bit, and I want to pose you some questions, and hopefully we can have a kind of question answer session. At any point here, you can ask me questions, and I can respond in relation to that. So let's start with the self-care. So this is kind of a daily, hour by hour, minute by minute thing that just fluctuates and changes over time. And yeah, you'll see when I start talking about the different little message, so I can see who you are, and then I can see where you are in the world. I like to know. So some really basic things first. I've started with temperature. So that's to do with your body temperature or the environment that you're in. Are you cold? Are you hot? If you are, if you're cold, put on a jumper. If you're too hot, take off a layer. And these are really basic things. Oh, you're in Lebanon? Cool. I've got friends that live in the Lebanon, but that's not Lebanon that I'm thinking of. That's new to me. Yeah, because if our mental health is not great, then these basic simple things are things that we can actually completely bypass, not even think about, and not even think that it's that important. So I think they're just little things that make sure that your day-to-day experience of life is as good as it can be. The next thing, hygiene. We can forget to brush our teeth, we can forget to wash our hair. These kinds of things, again, are really important just to keep on top of, and give yourself reminders on your phone if it's helpful. I've put here products, so to do with what kind of shampoo you might use, what kind of soap you might use, that you're not having too many different nasty products that are going on your skin or in you. And so that's then moves on to food, and making sure that it's not too high in sugar, not too high in salt, not too much fat. So you've got a nice range of different things that you're putting in your body: fruits, vegetables, a small amount of meat, maybe if you're a meat eater, a bit of fish, so it's kind of broad, so you're taking in all your vitamins and minerals that you need. Talking about shampoo, Chase saying he quit shampoo. I did a while ago, and now I started using a bar which cuts out plastic, which is really good. And what I've been doing is once a week I wash it with my bar, and then like 4 days later I'll just wash it with hot water. Which is what I did this morning. A couple of days later I'll wash it with hot water again, and then it just kind of distributes everything. And then when it's really needs it, then I go again with the shampoo bar. So there we go. Hi, Coda. So shelter is another basic one. Are you dry? Are you warm? Do you live on the streets? It's going to be a completely different experience than if you have a roof over your head. But these things you need to put into place to live well. For self-care. Another thing I've talked about here is so your feelings and needs. So checking in with how you feel right now and what do you need. Another thing I've talked about here is so your feelings and needs. So checking in with how you feel right now and what do you need to have a good moment. I'm sorry if this is cutting out. I keep having little messages saying my connection is unstable. Please let me know if I'm freezing your end, or if you can't hear me. I'd like to know. Hello, Arthur from Boston. Yes, it's wonderful to catch you live too. So moving on. So for example, some of the needs that you might have, you might need a conversation with someone, so you can put that into place. You might need like some closeness with someone. There's all sorts of different needs that you might feel like you're kind of lacking, that you want to put into place. So again, that's just something of checking in with yourself, being aware, noticing what do you need, and then to give yourself the power and to put that into place. Is it, do you ring someone up? Do you do a WhatsApp call? Do you write a text message for that closeness, for that conversation? Yeah. Hello from Perth, Australia. Ooh, I haven't had an Australian before. That's very exciting. Hello, Jeff. So moving on to, I talked about food already, but that's to do with quality quantity and regularity. So yeah, quality, you know, do you eat organic or non-organic? Are you having lots of processed food or not? Quantity, you know, you don't overeat too much or don't have too little, because again, these are things that can go like off balance when your mental health isn't so good. If you've got any comments about that, then I'd love to hear. Regularity, I think that your body quite likes to know, like to have a rhythm and to know when's breakfast, when's lunch, when's dinner. At the moment, I'm eating at around 11ish for a brunch, maybe a bit later, and then I have dinner at around 7, and that's just kind of my rhythm or something. But I usually try and fill up on cups of tea and things in the daytime rather than snacking on food. And because with this period of time at the moment when we're stuck indoors quite a lot, and it's not so easy to do physical exercise, yeah, I found that I was putting on a bit of weight, so just kind of finding a new balance with that, with this more sedentary lifestyle. With the virus. So moving on. Yeah, so physical activity I've started talking about, but too little of each thing. People can get like full on to like doing too much exercise, and they kind of have to do it, and they don't feel good if they haven't exercised that day or something. And they need it. And then relaxation, again, if you do too much of that, then it almost makes you tired, because you're doing so little that in the end you're so used to doing so little that that's all you feel like doing, and then you need to really like crank yourself up to do something. So it's getting a balance between those two aspects. And I think if you find that difficult to find a balance, is again, like what I'm doing at the moment, for example, is on Mondays and on Thursdays I go for a run, and I've managed to get it up to 4 kilometers. And for me, that's reasonably new. I've been doing it for maybe a month. I started off with less kilometers. I was doing like 1 or 2 kilometers to start with, and now I'm doing a bit longer. And so my fitness is improved. Timetable for myself, and that's something that you can do if you find that tricky to kind of get a rhythm and routine with. So yeah, so I've given myself certain days, Mondays and Thursdays, but you could do it in different ways. If you want to do a bit less exercise each time, you could do it maybe 3 or 4 times a week. So it's about you finding what's right for you with your lifestyle, and what your constraints are, and whether you've got children or not, and do you have to do it at home, or can you go out and do it on your own at this period of time. What have we got here? I try to buy only organic grass-fed meats, that's good, and eating all my meals at home and in bed by 8 p.m. Ooh, that's very organized. I walk miles every day and lift weights, and your mental health is improving. That's really good to know. Yeah, I think lifting weights, if you're doing it in a way that's safe for you, then that it's kind of good to kind of give yourself something that's challenging to do, and it's like physically difficult, and it's like and you have to really kind of get your head around it and like push yourself to do it. And I think that's really good. For me, 8 p.m. is a bit early in bed, but if that's what works for you. Do you get up really early, Chase? Or do you do things in bed, like watch a film or something, so that you go to sleep at maybe 10? Or do you actually go to sleep at 8? I'm interested to find out. Fabulous on the organic and it. Yeah, well, I started with 1 kilometer, and I was doing that every single day. And it's quite a short stint, and I did that for 2 weeks, and then by the end of that I was kind of feeling like, okay, I want to do a bit more, and so you just kind of extend it bit by bit, and then you can end up progressing and going further, and that's the way to get fitter. Chase, yes, 3 a.m. You wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning? And you go to bed at 8 p.m. or 4 sometimes. Yeah, that's very early. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. So you still have 7 hours sleep. Interesting way of going about it. That's intriguing. In fact, that's moving on to regular sleep pattern. And so you've got times that you've kind of put into place and you stick with, and that's really good. But some people are just all over the place with when they go to bed and when they wake up. And again, I think that's not so good, especially if you struggle with mental health. And I think you put your hormones get ready for sleep time when you have a regular pattern and your body knows. I start getting tired around 10:30 p.m. and if I'm kind of going to bed later than 11, then I'm just like, oh, it's a bit late, and start getting a bit kind of cranky. And then if I go to bed after midnight or after 11:30, and I really notice it, and I'm much more tired the next day. So for me, keeping a rhythm is really important. And I think it kind of is for everyone. And if you forget that, then it just makes your day-to-day life, I think, a little bit more of a struggle to kind of handle. But then at the same time, if you're really into yoga and doing lots of breathing techniques, then you can end up sleeping a lot less, but you still have enough energy and vibrancy and life to live really healthily and well and vibrantly in your days. So it kind of really depends on where you're at. Where should we move on to next? I put in security and finances, because I would say that my mental health was a lot less stable and a lot less. I felt unstable when my financial situation was worse. So, for example, there was a period of time when we had to make the decision between putting petrol in the car or buying a week of food, and so when you're thinking about that, you're like, well, I'm going to not put petrol in the car and I'm going to make sure that I eat. So, we had a number of months where we had to make that decision, near the end of the month. And that kind of state financially as a family, it makes you worry and it makes you concerned, and you're always like counting the pennies in the shops, like exactly how much can I buy right now. So I'm glad that period of time is over. Because that kind of gentle worry with every single penny makes you feel just like that little bit more kind of relaxed and confident and okay, that there's just less to worry about, so you can just kind of get on with your life a bit more. So let's move on. So now we're talking about medication for the beginning stages. So there I'm talking about the beginning stages of a mental health crisis. So whether you're going into deep depression, or whether you're getting manic or psychotic, or paranoid, or whatever different, however it expresses itself in you, because there I kind of spoke maybe more about bipolar, but some of you guys might have other mental health issues. But for me, I was manic psychotic at the beginning of my first episode. And when you hit that crisis period, which is what I was thinking about this morning, yes, I was diagnosed bipolar, was that in that period of time, I think it was probably necessary for me to be injected with olanzapine and then take the pills and then go on lithium or something like that, because I was a danger to myself. I wasn't really a danger to other people, but I was being a pain in the arse for other people to try and manage, that's for sure. And so that period of time, I think it was necessary that something was put into place medically so that I could come back to a place of equilibrium. But then there comes a time when you find that place of equilibrium, and there's also that period where some of you might have felt this, where you feel like your brain and your body, because it gets so, for me, you get so kind of exhausted and tired from being in that state of mania or that state of psychosis or that state of panic and worry, especially if it's been building up over a period of time and you are absolutely exhausted, then you need to rest. And if you're not on medication, then you're not resting, and so it's forcing you to stop and breathe and relax. So I think in that sense it's good. But then there comes a time when you've had your rest, you've had that time to recover, and you feel like your brain is functioning better, and everything's kind of falling into place a bit more, and you feel like your body works a bit better, and you've got more energy, and you can communicate better with other people, and everything's kind of going a bit more with more of a flow. It's kind of going a bit more swimmingly. And then I think that's where it's important to kind of think about do I stay on this drug now? Do I continue? Is this something that I feel like I really, really need to stay on? Or is it something that I can reduce and have a smaller dosage? Or is it something where I could even try tapering ever so slowly and, taper really, really, really in tiny quantities day after day until you come to zero, and see if you can find a way to live without your medication. I found that it's possible. Not everyone can find that it's possible, but I just think, it's something to think about in the long term. So what questions have I got here? So you could pop to that state where you found a bit of equilibrium. I've put, then what can be done, ? And you can think about and ponder what the different options are. Have you put something into place where you can feel supported and secure and steady? Have you got like some mental health professionals that are in your life? Do you have some therapy sessions? Do you have like a close family or friend network that you need it? Chase is saying, I've been taking lithium carbonate 900 milligrams for almost a year now every day. It works well. I tried lithium orotate. I had severe manic episode and he was jailed and hospitalised. Oh dear, jailing's not good. Were you hospitalised in jail? I don't even know if that's possible. Yeah, I don't know. I never actually got to try lithium orotate. It was something that I bought and I didn't actually give it a go, because when I tapered off the medication, I felt like what was the most important thing for me was to see that if I could live without anything, without any supplements, without anything to keep me stable and good. So well done for trying, Chase, but clearly it didn't work for you. What's Arthur saying? Have you seen the book, The Zyprexa Papers by Jim? How are you being put forward now that we can maybe talk about together in this group? Hope you heard that, Arthur. So moving on about medication. So I'm talking here about, I've put here, do you want to be dependent for the rest of your life? ? on a psychiatric medication. For me, that was something that I really didn't want to be dependent, and I wanted to see that if I could live independently without any other external help. So Arthur is saying, I lost your video just as you started to talk about my question. Oh, so it is cutting out. I'm really sorry about that, guys. So what I was saying, Arthur, was that this book that you're talking about, was there kind of one particular aspect about it that is kind of really that maybe you want to talk about here now with us as a group or with me? Something that really grabbed you and stayed with you after reading it, that would be interesting to talk about, then please let me know. Write it in the comments and I'll read out your comment and then we can discuss it. So here I'm talking about so if you don't want to be dependent on the medicated drug, then what do you feel like you need for your own personal support, for your own personal feeling of harmony, put into place different things that would mean that I had my own kind of toolkit of my own personal kind of support network, whether it was breathing techniques or going into nature or eating healthily or having a sleeping routine that was working for me. All these different things. I was talking about self-care earlier. So working out. So in that time when you have that security, when you're on your medication, to put all these things into place, so that when you start tapering, then you feel like even when you come off it totally, that you're ready with all your tools to put into place when you need to, when you are feeling stressed or you have just had a panic attack or you feel really rubbish that day. What can you put into place? What can you do? And then here's my last question. I've put, what are you squashing, what are you ignoring, and what are you hiding from? Because I think there's a lot of things when this is kind of presumption, and you can make comments on this and we can talk about it. But I feel like there's a lot of emotions or feelings or past you might be ignoring and not bringing to light and not allowing it to be expressed and not what's the word? Yeah, you're basically suppressing. That's a good word. You're suppressing and not allowing the pain or the sadness or the hurt to be expressed. And so that's why I'm talking about squashing. You're retaining it inside you in such a way that what comes out, what is expressed, is fear. So much fear that you get manic, or so much fear that you close up so much that you have to go into a state of depression. So I think that's kind of the key point here, is what is it that you're ignoring, suppressing and squashing and hiding yourself from and not showing the world and not talking to your friends and family or to your therapist about, because that means that if you're doing these things that are negative for your mental health, then you cannot live in harmony, in peace, in joy. In fact, before I answer this question, Arthur, finding a flow and music, and the connection is unstable, so I'm presuming you can't hear me or see me right now. I'm back again. So I was talking about fun, dancing, finding a flow and music, and this is a really, really important aspect, because if you don't have fun, if you don't have joy, then what is the point? So you have to find a way to put these things into your life. And I think music is a really good way to pick you up if you're feeling a bit down or a bit low. You kind of put it on and you allow it to kind of soak into your cells and your skin and your being, and just see if it can change you and bring you out of whatever mood you're stuck in. And then can you move with that beat, with that rhythm, with that sound? And if it's a song, can you sing with the person? Can you sing with the artist? Can you sing with the group? Because vibration and sound is another amazing way of expression. Even if you have no one in the room, you've got no one to talk to, but you're expressing something that's coming from you out. Even if you're alone, it's still really powerful. And even if it's just an even if it's just a with your mouth shut, but you're making a noise and you're just allowing something to come out, then it's a really important, great way to kind of allow change to come. And then of course, if you can really allow the music to take you over and you're really in the swing of it, then finding a way to move and dance and express yourself physically with your body, and using your arms, using your hands, using your fingers, using your hips, using your stomach, using your legs, your knees, your feet, your toes, your head, every part of yourself, so that you're really kind of expressing yourself physically, and then that again creates change. So here we go. Yes, he said, Arthur, this is about in relation to the book that I was talking about earlier. Olanzapine is the generic name in the US for Zyprexa. I know that already. I've listened to a few podcasts with the author, and I'm sure you would find this book very interesting. I'm sure I would too. So the book, if you can't see the chats later on, is by Jim Gottstein. That's a very weird name. I think the OTT has been repeated. So it's called The Zyprexa Papers by Jim, Jim Gottstein, Gottstein. So there we go. If you're interested in buying the book and finding out more and doing some research and maybe commenting on these live chats about it in the future, that'd be great. Jeff, it is disappointing. Isn't good. Okay, so I was just talking about Jeff's comments, sitting down with a pizza and chatting about this. That'd be fantastic. And do you know what? In the past, I've had so many thoughts about where, when I was more in this YouTube channel, and I was like, I wish I could just kind of get together with you guys and have little mental health retreats in the mountains, in the Pyrenees, or find somewhere where we could all kind of get together and talk about our experience. Well, I haven't put it into place because I don't have any mental health training, and I think there are some of you out there like I've never met someone that's been in prison, and if you guys need like some intense help with medication, or you need an injection, or you need a doctor's help, then all that would kind of need to be put into, that would need to be possible. And if there is a crisis, then what would I do? So I had that fear side of me was thinking, what could I actually do if someone really needed help? Did you read or listen to the speech I gave about my experience with tapering off lithium? Arthur, no, I didn't. Maybe you'd need to give me another link to that, maybe via my email address. I'll show it to you again. Is that clearer if I do it back here? Oh, no, hang on, it's all white. yoga.healthforyou@gmail.com. And you could give me that link again, that'd be great. I'd love to hear it. Sorry, I can't see that at all. I'd love to share this with you. I'll write it in the the chat. Here we go. Yoga dot health for you at gmail.com. There we go. That's where you can contact me with you. So any of you guys, you can contact me with that. So I've come to the end of what I wrote down. There is a little something else actually that I could comment on, and that's about masculine and feminine, something that came up today with my yoga guru. He was talking about how the masculine energy is very propelling and with lots of movement and propelling, and feminine is much more about settling down and being that way orientated, and that at the moment there are very few men out there that can live without a woman. and that I think women, what he was trying to say is women really kind of anchor and settle men, and kind of reduce that kind of propelling action that the men have. So I can find a happy balance if those two are able to live successfully in each other's life. And he was talking about how the masculine and feminine, to kind of help you, is to turn inward, and so that you're able to sit still and be able to meditate, I suppose, and just be okay with what you find and what you observe, and what you is just to turn inward. And that turning inward is that place where you can come to a state of calmness, of peace. And when you feel enough calmness and peace with that stillness, then from that comes joy, and comes that feeling of just like self-created kind of joy and ecstasy sometimes, and bliss, that kind of bliss feeling, in that state of grace. Now I want to make a comment again about my Zoom classes, where I would like to do yoga for mental health, simple techniques. And I've got 3 of you guys left live here with me now at the end, and you can contact me on the email address that I've put in the live chat. And from that, then I can send you some information about when I would go Zoom, and I need to send you an ID and a password to type in. And for doing these yoga classes, I was thinking €5, which you have to work out what that is in US dollars, or wherever you live, what that would be. If we did, for example, like a whole month, then you could come to all of my classes within that month, then that would be a reduced price per class, and I can work that out for you. So is that something that you'd be willing to do for those? I did do a breathing exercise on Monday that was live, and 71 people have looked at that film. And I don't know if all those 71 people watched it to the end, or if you even had a go at the technique that I was showing and the body scanning and all that. But just to let you know that I've been a yoga teacher for 8 years now, and I've got all my certificates and everything, so I could prove that to you if you need it. But I'm a practicing yoga teacher, and I know what I'm doing. I'm not just kind of making it up. I would have 2 classes a week, one for kind of the time zone of West Side, East Side America, and then a European, like UK, France, or English speakers in Europe, and a kind of class that fits in with that time zone. So yeah, please let me know if that's something you're interested in about that. No, that's it. So thank you very much, guys. And yeah, maybe one day we can have a pizza together. Who knows? And I'll see you on the next film, which will be next Thursday at 5:30 Central European Time, which is French summertime for me. It's the same as Paris, even though I'm much further south. And that's it. I'll see you in a week. And if you want to join me on Monday, then I'll do that around the same time, 5:30 in the evening for me, Central European time. And that's the Monday. I think it's a great time to start the week to do the yoga techniques and the breathing and the gentle movement and things together. So bye for now, Jeff. Bye, Arthur. And who's this? Guitar Jams and Beyond. Thanks for the info on bipolar disorder info. Love the content. No problem. It's my pleasure. Bye.